The third and final debate on voluntary euthanasia is in full swing in Parliament. The members' bill, sponsored by ACT leader David Seymour, would allow terminally ill adults to request a medically assisted death. It's expected to pass comfortably later this evening, but even if it does, New Zealanders will have the final say at the ballot box at next year's election. Earlier in the day, a group of a few hundred people protested against the bill on the front lawn of Parliament. Lined up in front of them was a group of about a dozen MPs from both Labour and National. This was the message from National List MP Alfred Naro.
Keep the faith, because there are those who believe that this is wrong. Keep the faith that even whatever happens after tonight, whatever the result is, you need to keep on keeping on. Because why our faith and our fight does not end with today or even with tonight.
3 hours has been allowed for this debate, which means twice as many speeches as usual. David Seymour took the first slot, telling MPs there was strong support for the law change, driven by personal experience.
Overwhelmingly, they've said to me, I've seen bad death. If my time comes and I'm not doing well, then I want choice. And by the way, it's nobody else's business but mine. They've thought deeply about harrowing events in their own lives, and I caution members of Parliament that we should not underestimate or belittle the public's understanding of this issue.
Now we cross to our political reporter Jo Moir, who's live from Parliament. Jo, it's taken a long time to get this far, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has indeed, Lisa. So it's been 4 years since David Seymour first put this bill in the ballot. We've had a really long public submission process. It was 16 months of public submissions, which is actually the longest that Parliament has ever had. So it just proves the point, really, that there is a lot of public interest in this. Also, Select Committee was interesting. It was so divisive in terms of the people that were on that Select Committee that they couldn't actually agree to any amendments. So where we have seen some changes to the bill, like, for example, the narrowing of it to just those who are terminally ill, that's had to be done through the committee stage by David Seymour to get, for example, the Green Party on board with that element in particular. And we also saw the referendum introduced, which passed 3 weeks ago as well. That ensures New Zealand First vote is there as well. So 3 weeks ago we saw with that vote that it passed 63 to 57 in support of a binding referendum. And we're expecting probably similar numbers tonight. David Seymour said he's quietly confident that he has got the numbers.
You mentioned it has been quite divisive, and there have been a lot of critics of this bill. Also, we saw a last-minute rush there, didn't we, in those pictures with the protesters outside Parliament. What sort of protest have we seen today?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a last-minute one. There were a few hundred people that turned up to protest today. Now, they had about 12 MPs from both National and Labour come and greet them and speak to them out on the forecourt here today. You heard that clip, Alfred Naro, who's very strongly against euthanasia. He spoke to the crowd. Now, he said that they needed to keep the faith because there are those who believe that this is wrong. So it just proves the point, really. As I said, there is plenty of interest in this. That's further proven by the fact that the public gallery here tonight in Parliament is completely full.
So the speeches have already started. So what have been some of the sort of standout moments so far?
So we heard David Seymour kick off things. He is obviously the person who put the bill forward, so he got that first speech and got to lay things out. He talked about the fact that he did narrow the bill to get the Green Party and other people on board who are really concerned about it being too wide. Now, the problem with that is that there are those who are very supportive of euthanasia and wanted it to be available to the likes of people who have degenerative diseases like Huntington's disease. Now, it's not going to be available to them. So he was a little bit apologetic that he didn't get that across the line for them. He also addressed the criticism from people saying that MPs had basically abdicated their responsibility by going to a referendum. He pointed out that this has been about 23 months of work for MPs, and the fact that they're here tonight voting on it proves the point that they are making a call on it. We also had Chris Penk from the National Party. He has been very opposed to this. Now, he talked about there being no stand-down period period, and there only been 48 hours between approval and when a lethal dose could be administered. He laid it out as effectively you could get approval on a Wednesday and be dead by the weekend. We also had Tracy Martin from New Zealand First speak. She found herself in an awkward position, she said, where she was thanking David Seymour for the work that he'd done, something she thought she would never do in Parliament. She said that it had been a long, hard fight and he'd really kept on it, and she was pleased that it had got to where it had with New Zealand First in the referendum.
Thanks, Jo. That is Jo Moir, our political reporter there live from Parliament. And as Jo mentioned, the debate is expected to go on for some time. But if there are any developments while we're on air, we will, of course, bring them to you.